and thank you for joining me for another conversation with a book author called Now Conversations. I'm Lisa Marie Garcia, and I was just getting a sip of I was just opening my bottled water because, yes, I have my, what did I call it, the form of delivery of caffeination, right? Tool with me, my coffee cup, and I hope you do too. But I'm excited for you to meet our guest is Lianne Hofer, and you're going to hear all about her today in which goes very quickly, our show called Now Conversations. We ask the questions to book authors that only book publishers can ask. So as we get ready to bring her on stage, I want to embarrass her and have her be on stage until I finish a short but amazing bio. Let me tell you about her. So she is a dynamic speaker, a trainer, a 2-time award-winning international best-selling author. We're going to talk about, of course, her book called The Clutter Consultant. It's got a fabulous book title. You'll hear this. But she helps audiences clear the physical and emotional clutter that holds them back, blending practical organization strategies with uplifting energy and spiritual insight. Yes, she's been featured on television, radio, podcasts, and she is in publications worldwide. She inspires groups of all sizes with actionable tools and laughter and motivation, empowering people to reclaim their space, reduce stress, and step confidently into lives filled with freedom and happiness. And maybe I'll bring her up at now so I can sort of put her on the spot. And most importantly, she is a soon-to-be TEDx speaker. Woo! Congratulations and welcome to Now Conversations, Lianne.
Thanks, Liza, and I get to share the stage with you, girl.
Well, we're both very excited. I was so happy to meet you in January in person. We just so happened, which I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in God incidences, but we just, in the rehearsal day, our last day, we sat right next to each other. So we striked up a conversation. I found out some of your journey in publishing, so I was happy to feature you. So thanks again for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Well, it's very timely. The discussion we're going to focus on, we help share insights for people that are thinking of writing a book, or maybe they didn't have such a great first experience with a book. And there's so many types of books out there, genres and such. So it's very timely that the book that you have, that I love your title, I'm going to pull it up on stage, is a collaboration book. Because we are building, actually, we just started one last Thursday and we're building 2 right now in our company. Yeah. And they're very different. Thank you. Very different, as you know. So first of all, I would like you to share how you even came to publish, your first book. Like, how did it happen? Just kind of put the steps together to share that, please.
Well, kind of like you just said, you don't believe in coincidences. It's all God winks, right? I was in a spiritual group that was looking to dig into personal growth, and one of the members was a publisher, and he was putting together another volume in his series, and he's asked if I'd like to be a part of it. It was totally just being in the right place at the right time.
Well, I'm going to pull it up on stage because I think it's very cool. Navigating the clickety-clack. Because clearly you're an expert in what we were talking, when I talked about your bio, you help people. This is with this whole fundamental. So let's go ahead and just introduce that topic, if you would, and tell about, what in general your book is about.
So navigating the clickety-clack was about the space in between. So when you're ready to do something, but you haven't done it yet, it's that space in between. What happens there? That's what the different authors all wrote about. I wrote about moving and believing in the next step will show for itself. Isn't that so interesting? We've already naturally talked about that. But that was what I wrote about in regards to moving and all of the things in the house. How do we work with those? But each person did a different topic on that space in between.
Right. And so what I noticed about this book as I was looking through it is it, has a featuring, and we call this like the featuring the signature authors in the collab. And then it showed, and then other contributing authors, right, is what we call them. And that's what we do as well. And part of, as I had said, we have just started, and I was counting. I thought it was our seventh book, collab book, over our 10-year history, but I think it is actually our sixth. And what I did with the very first one is I wanted to make sure that I wasn't influenced by other collaboration anthologies. I said, and really, I'll tell you where that came from. It wasn't, very virtuous or anything like that. It came from the idea that it was our very first collab book that was very organic. And how that happened was for us it was 2020, and I was featured as a podcast guest, and the gal was asking me, what's next? And I said, our team has thrived during these challenging COVID times because we're in our desk day and night. I'm not getting in my car and going to conferences and meeting clients, right? And all of that. And I said, so now we're being able to hit these things that have been on our list to do and charter for digital marketing. So I'm thrilled. I am just thrilled because we're doing these things. I said, we need to do this, together. And so as I said that, our book ended up being, I better remember, top 25 change makers, how Florida's entrepreneurs thrive during challenging times. So we put 25 authors. And so as that came together, that whole story, just to say that as that came together, I didn't look at the other collab books at the time. And at the time, I don't even know that they even were called collab books, at least not as much as now we all know them. This is, 5 years or 6 years ago. But why I'm bringing that up is just like the publishing industry is very different. There aren't standards. It is, right? Which is a good thing. I mean, there can be negatives, but I look at it as a great thing because you can be creative, you can be unique.
Yes.
There is no one right way, right, to publish. And so as I looked at your book, I thought that's interesting. So where you have a book that you could have just the 3 authors, you have those authors featured, which have great credentials. And then you have the contributing authors. And we've done a combination somewhat similar to that, moving forward. So I think that's very cool. Tell me kind of about that experience with collabs.
That also, by putting the names on the cover, also allows you, which I didn't find out till my second collab book, that you could get an Amazon page and you become an Amazon author. So what was great is that I wanted to write a book, didn't know about writing a book, had no idea. When this opportunity literally landed in my lap, I was like, oh, heck yeah, let's do it. And then I found out that I got to collab with Michael Beckwith and Dr. Martini, and that was really cool. And I had already worked with Marcy Shimoff, who had done some of the accolades for the book. So I was already in this amazing arena with these really cool authors. And then I got to have an Amazon page. So as a kid, I wanted to write a book, but I never really knew what was involved. I didn't want to write the whole thing. That felt overwhelming. So this was a great introduction into being an author. And prior to meeting you, I already have a script that's pretty much ready to go. My editor's already looked at it, and I'm getting ready to release my first solo project, which is really exciting.
Congratulations. Super exciting. So yes, I put your contact information in on the banner just so everyone knows that. But there's 2 things I want to unpack there. One is the very uniqueness of the volume 3. I love that. We've never had in our history, we've had just what we call standalone collab books, right? But as I was mentioning, we started a new collaboration book just last Thursday was our initial co-author Zoom, and it's called Faith Effect. And that book will be a multiple volume collab. So again, the uniqueness of the industry, I think, is a positive for publishing because, you can try new things. So it is very cool. And I don't know, was there a volume 4 already in this? I can't remember if I saw it.
I think there is a volume 4. I think they've stepped away and they've moved to a different title that is now on multiple volumes of it. I don't know that they're still continuing this one. But I love that you're open to trying something different. And I love that you just said, you know what, I'm not going to look because I don't want to. I did the same thing when I first started my very first business. I didn't follow what other people were doing because I wanted to be original. I wanted to do it my way. I wanted to figure it out.
I think, well, you need to be you. And so also congratulations that you're going to be publishing what you called your solo book. That it's and because the other part of the untagged, the effort, because started with the chapter being a chapter contributor. And what I love about that, and to let people that wondered about collab books or don't really understand anthologies, is that it is a very easy step to take forward to become a published author, right? Because you are responsible for just a chapter, which could be 2,000, 3,000 maybe words downloaded. It might be edited to be a little bit less than that, but it is that first step. And then it sounds like you're like many of our authors, like once they publish the first book, they got the bug. And
yeah, you get the bug. You totally get the bug. But like 2,500 words is just like writing a long blog. Like it's easy. It doesn't, yes, it requires effort. Yes, it requires, work and all that, but it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And you get the support of a whole bunch of other authors that are going through the same experience. And you're not headlining, making all of the decisions. So in the second collab book that I did, the original cover that was chosen, people had a hard time with the original cover, and everyone kind of went in and gave their reasoning behind it. And the lead author listened to what everybody said and came up with something completely different that everybody loved. So it was really great to have that sounding board of other people and the support of you're not like solo, trying to grind it out on your own.
Well, and it's a great thing that, in my opinion, that your signature author or the primary decision maker did let you have feedback. And there's difficult points in that, and then there's great points in that. I think, and it has to do with, of course, with our first one we had 25 authors, and I have yet to do a collab with that many authors. We learned a ton, but that's a lot of sometimes what cats to herd on anything.
Personalities.
Well, everyone's different. Everyone has a different perspective, and nothing, not right or wrong, but we all come from a different place on everything, right? But I haven't then, from that experience, we still do what you talked about. It's still, here's the book covers. In fact, I have a couple concepts already that we introduced on Thursday, and I just let it to be known, this is not our final, book cover, but we will go out and ask the, contributing authors. And really, it kind of goes back to that fundamental that, I say to all of our authors, and we call our solo author signature books. So our signature authors writing their own books, fiction or nonfiction, they might, I tell them this at the first meeting, they might, I know they will love this experience with us, but they might fall in love with us, think we're great, are so happy when it's done. But come 10 years down the road, what they really only care about is their book, is what it looks like, what is in it, how it is, right? So they are in the driver's seat. It is their opinion and their decision. So I do agree, with your collab authors, we want you to love your book. And clearly you do, feel that way. It represents you.
Yeah. 100%. Your name is on it. I mean, this is something that, you get to hand out when you're at a meeting. This is something that you can take when you do a speaking engagement or run a workshop. And it's a marketing piece.
100%, the part of the brand. So actually, speaking of that, let's dig into what your chapter was about and what you do for a living and how that works, how that coincides.
So my chapter in this book was just about believing. So when you're ready to move, it is aligning with the universe, aligning with what the plan is, and setting the stage so that God can meet you where you're at. You can't get where you're going if you put up roadblocks everywhere. So it was about believing and starting to go through your things, because as a home organizer, I've helped people to stage their home. I've helped people to pack up to move, to unpack after a move, when they feel the walls closing in, when they live in their home. So I've handled a lot of stuff in the home over the years. And I wrote about believing when the next step. So my example was, we were getting ready to move. It was 2010. The real estate market was not great, and we wanted to sell. So we started getting rid of all of the things that we didn't want to take with us. What were we not taking? We had an old living room set. We sold that at a yard sale. We eliminated some of the things in the kitchen cabinets. We went through the kids' toys and got rid of all of the broken pieces and the outgrown toys. And then we started packing some of the memorabilia. And once we did that, we were able to put our house on the market. It was ready to go. It sold in 7 days when houses weren't selling. And
Right.
it sold for what we wanted because we had believed in setting up the stage to be met for our next dream.
Well, and what you talk about, I was instantly thinking about, what do you call? I call it, I think, white noise. When things are not in their place, things are everywhere. The clutter
Mm-hmm.
can't operate effectively. It's just, and I will let it get there, which is probably, not, it will get there
You're not
because
alone. You're not alone.
especially when I have a rough week. I was actually on talking with someone yesterday. I said, I haven't had the best morning. It was Friday morning, and really, it's been kind of a crazy week because I had like event, meeting, out, and when it's just difficult when you're routine. We're such creatures of habit, right? So when that kind of goes a little bit and then it continues to go that way, you have that white noise. So maybe talk about, do you have an experience you can share with a client that you helped that was, maybe more extreme one way, and then you helped them, net it all out, with what you do, and talking about that?
Yeah. So I have a therapist that calls me every once in a while, and she's like, I know my life is getting ready to get out of control because my master closet is out of control. So can you come and get that together? Because once my master closet is put back together, I know that the rest of my life will automatically kind of file in the way it's supposed to be versus it being chaotic. So that's one really good example. Currently, do not go into my laundry room because I've got a pile of ironing because I've had a crazy week too.
Girl, ironing, I'm going to send you a steamer. Yeah, what are you saying? I actually bought my aunt one, and I'm a believer, and I bought another friend of mine. Okay, now I know what your gift is. See you soon in March, right? No, I mean, the master closet, 100% is it, and it's almost the first thing to go for me as well, because you try on this outfit or that outfit in a rush. You don't
Before
put
you
that.
begin and end your day, right? You
Yes,
plan your day in there. You plan your day when you get dressed, right? Like, am I going to have to walk a lot? Am I standing a lot? Am
yeah,
I going to have pictures taken of my feet? Like, those are all things that come into mind when you get dressed. And then you start thinking, okay, well, I'm going to be from the neck up. So what is my collar going to look like? What kind of color should I wear?
what am I wearing on my for jewelry with it? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. No, it's the white noise. So I love what you do. It's so important. And I think that people probably don't always recognize that that's an angst and an anxiety in their life, right? Until someone like you, they meet someone like you. So that's fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm watching the clock because I know that there's so much I want to talk to you about, but I know we don't have a ton of time.
Well, we can keep going afterwards.
I know,
Maybe,
right?
right?
That's
We'll just record it. And then if people really want it, they can tap in later.
There you go. There you go. So I don't want to leave the collab books yet, but I definitely want to talk about your journey coming up. So let's talk about one other, which I think is a very important element of being part of a collab, and you've been a part of 2 collabs, and that is the network and the friendships and the relationships that you make between the contributing authors. Can you talk through how that has been for you? And
Oh, yeah.
okay.
So in the Navigating the Clickety Clack book, a number of the contributing authors all ended up being from the Lake Placid area of New York. And it was an area that, strangely enough, I was visiting twice a year because we had family in the area. And I ended up getting these amazing friendships from these folks. One of the ladies owned a foot sanctuary where you go and get your feet soaked in these big, huge copper tubs, and they used herbs and they'd bring you tea, and it was lovely. And every time we went, we would go and get a foot soak. And then it turned into going to lunch. And the next thing you know, we'd be going to lunch. We'd have a huge table with like 15 people all sitting around talking and just doing all the yummy connecting that was going on. And I'm still connected with them today.
And it is I'm also putting in the comments, if we have any questions, I will read them here. I'm putting in the comments how people can connect to you, because I'm sure people are going to want to. But that strong network and friendship and relationships that you make when you are part of a collaboration book project is huge. And as I said, our very first one in 2020, I learned that. I learned it firsthand. And what we had done is we had also, as I said, 2020 was a huge year of change for our company. We implemented new software tools, and one of the tools was a communication platform that we actually use today. And basically, it put all of our contributing actors within, we call it ping, and it's called ping instead of texting, and email, and all in one place. So you had that back door, right, of communication together. So I would see, some of our contributing authors have the others on guests, like we're doing here on their podcast. I'd see them attend events together. I see them, become friends, and many of them are friends today, 6 years later. So, if you are, thinking, if you've been thinking, I wonder if I should be, if you part of a collab or you've been invited. I meet many people that say, I've been invited to be one. I've been invited to be a part of this book or part of that book. And, industry books, industry collaborations are fantastic, because you all have expertise in that industry to share in your own unique way.
So you're already all looking at everything roughly the same way. So of course they're like-minded people. So you immediately connect with them. It's almost like a put together friend group for you.
It is.
Here, let me just drop you into this little group of people where you get to meet all these, yummy people that look at life, or at least that part of life, the same way you do.
Yeah, 1,000%. And also, and so just to wrap this up in a bow. So where we've taken now those relationships that we learned, developed, is now we really make sure that what's a good way to say it? We ensure that we're taking advantage in a good way of each other's marketing strength, of each other's ability to boost the post, to share the post. I mean, why not? We all do it anyway for random people we don't know, of a reel that we liked. So why don't we do it more deliberately to help each other,
yes,
right, in the promotion of our collective book?
Writing a book is fabulous, but once you've written the book, there's still a lot of work to do. It's not just, oh, I wrote a book and I'm a New York Times bestselling author. It doesn't work like that. You have to do a lot of marketing afterwards. There's lots of different little events to get those books out. When I wrote the Clickety Clack, it was 200 copies I got to hand out, sell, do whatever I wanted to do with. And I was very strategic who I gave them to. So it took a long time to hand them out. And I sold a few along the way as well. But there's still a lot that goes to it. Now, as a contributing author, for me, it was more of a credibility. But as the lead author, there's a lot more that they get from it as the lead author. So if you are looking to do a collab, consider being the lead author. There's more to it, but there's also more gained from it as well.
No, excellent point. And you're preaching to the choir in terms of there's a lot to selling a book. So we've said since day one, and actually we're coming up on 10 years in September. So for 10 years, I could say we've been saying that after a author sells their books to their family and their network, no one is buying their books unless someone's promoting their books. I mean, we have understood that from day one, that the publishing needs to be excellent in every way, for sure. But the other half of what we do is book promotion. And what does that look like? You mentioned New York Times. I don't have any New York Times authors. I wish I did. And number one, I mean, it's very difficult.
You don't have a New York Times bestselling author yet.
That's very true. That's very true. But we help, we've learned what does work, what doesn't work, and we're constantly learning new areas, new venues, new, steps we should take to help that. So thanks for bringing that up. Well, here we are. Okay. I want to get to what I'm so proud of you. And I hope you are just proud of yourself that you have achieved the status now of soon to be TEDx author. And almost within 30 days, March 28th, you will be a TEDx speaker. So please share how that came together for you. And also, can you give us a little teaser on what you're going to talk about?
So I get to share the stage with you. So I'm feeling super special right now. But yes, so this is my 12-year-old dream come true. Standing in my bedroom mirror with a hairbrush turned upside down, talking into the handle, talking to myself in the mirror about motivation and all the good things, like you're enough and you can do whatever you set your mind to do. And Now I have applied and been accepted, and I get to share it from the TEDx stage. I'm actually going this afternoon to a TEDx event to see what it's like to be in the audience to help be a better speaker on the actual red dot stage.
And that's the first time you've been in the audience?
I've never been to a TEDx event.
You're going to love it. And I love that you're doing that. I'm calling it the homework. So I went to one in November, and it was the first time I had been. Our company actually was a sponsor, but it was the first time I'd been in the audience. And I had just found out that I was approved to be a TEDx like 2 days before that.
Oh,
And
wow.
I didn't, it wasn't about me. It was about the TEDx speakers, but I'm doing more homework, and I'm going to one next Friday here again, a different one. I think,
Nice.
we need it. I mean, it's so new to us, right? It's just completely in every way, shape, or form. I was telling a friend of mine, it's all a new experience.
Yeah.
And I know you're a speaker already. I mean, is it completely different and from your experience? Because I'm not a speaker in my career.
So this does feel a little bit bigger. Like this feels, when you do a talk at an event, you're talking pretty much to the people at the event. I feel like TEDx puts this out on YouTube to a much wider audience. So I feel like somehow I'm putting a lot more pressure on myself. I don't know if I should be, but I am. And so I'm actually talking to a nerve coach.
I think that's great. I think do
Do you
every
want
and
an
any.
info? I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll share it with you.
Well,
Because we're all in this together, right? We want to do our best. We want to give our best. The whole idea is at TEDx is that you're sharing an idea worth sharing, and I don't want it to be me up there choking on my words, trembling like a leaf. I want to really be able to deliver some sort of value to anyone who hears it. So this experience has been amazing. The TEDx Sugar Creek team has been outstanding with support and guidance and making sure that we're comfortable the whole way through. I know there's other TEDx outfits that are not quite as supportive, so I really feel lucky. Plus, I've had an opportunity to meet all of my fellow speakers well before we're going to be on the stage. So that feels really good too. I mean, look at this right here. Here's a collab that's happening because of it. So, super lucky. Check.
super, super excited and agree with everything you said, especially about this particular TEDx event, because as we've all gotten to know other ones. And like you said, research, I call it the homework, right? I believe our experience is unique. So, all right. Okay. So we only have a few more minutes. What I'd love you to do is to please encourage someone that is thinking of writing their own book, is maybe in the midst of 1,000 edits on their own manuscript, where we say sometimes you got to just say, let's go, and then give it to your editorial team. But whether they're wanting to go into a collab book like you've started and or been a part of, or their signature solo book, what would you say of encouragement?
So I would say the same thing that I say for almost everything. If you are excited and scared all at the same time, jump in and do it. It's worth it. Obviously, take a look at the investment of time and effort and make sure that you have that. But if you have it and you can do it, do it. It's an experience. We're meant to live life. And if you're thinking about writing a book, you've got something worth sharing. And there is somebody out there that wants to hear what you have to say. And it's important to say it because you never know whose life you're going to change.
That's fantastic. Just jump in and do it. Don't wait till tomorrow. We don't know what's going on. Don't wait until tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm Lisa Marie Garcia. And if you'd like to know what collab books we have going on, like I said, I've got a couple going on right now. Reach out to CEO Book Publishing. Lianne,
Liza,
keep on getting ready, and I'm going to see you in March. So thank you again. Have a great weekend, everyone, and congratulations on all you've accomplished.
Oh, and same to you, Liza. This is exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.